Hey, it's Jang here from the friendly forums at ultimaterc.com, and I'm going to be talking about a hot RC topic, something that I'm being asked about pretty much constantly these days. It's an interesting question that refers to a couple vehicles that I like and have used quite a lot and have done a bunch of videos on. Slash 4x4 and the Stampede 4x4. Both of these are from Traxxas. They're both based on roughly the same chassis, and they have a lot of just similarities between them, but they also have a lot of differences between them. I've done videos that are thorough reviews on each of these, so if you want to know more information about each one, check out those reviews, and also check out, of course, the product information page for each one at traxxas.com. Now, the hot topic is, which of these should you buy? Well, that's a little bit of a stumper for me, because when I look at them, I see a lot of superficial differences between them. They're obviously very different vehicles as far as what they're designed to do, based on how they're designed, what type of wheels and tires that they have on them. But then underneath, if you looked at the review videos, or if you looked at pictures of the chassis for each of these, you know that mechanically they are almost identical. So it really comes down to not which one is the better vehicle, which one is the better platform, but it comes down to more, what do you want to do with an RC vehicle? I'm gonna cut it in half right from the start with racing and bashing. Obviously, if you're interested in racing, there is no class currently, at least most places that I'm aware of these days, for a 10 scale electric 4-wheel drive monster truck. There's just no racing class for that, except for maybe run what you brung class, and those classes tend to be a little bit, how can I say, transient. So I would definitely never buy a Stampede 4x4 for racing. If you look at the Slash 4x4, it's a little bit more of a racing, closer to a racing platform, in that there actually is a racing class available for it. You can run this, if you have such a class at your local track, you can run this in the 4x4 short course class. It is a 4x4 short course truck, fits into the class perfectly. However, it is not the most racy design as far as the chassis is concerned, and I talked about this at great length in my review video. I'm not going to repeat it all, but basically this has a very high center of gravity compared to the racing vehicles like the Jam-In and the Offner or the Hobow vehicles that are based on flat chassis vehicles. Slash 4x4 is very raceable, and there's still quite a number of people out there who are racing them. It's just not the best vehicle. However, between the two, for racing, there's absolutely no comparison whatsoever. Slash 4x4 it is. Now for bashers, that's the more interesting question, and that gets a little bit more complicated, because it really then comes down to what type of bashing do you want to do. And I've got videos of both of these vehicles up, showing how they perform in different situations on different types of terrain. The Stampede 4x4 obviously has the bigger tires, and it's set up to have more ground clearance, and its suspension right out of the box is set up to be more plush. It's more designed for going over the rough stuff. With the bigger tires, it's always going to be better than the Slash 4x4, just for that alone, just from having the big tires. It lets it get over just more obstacles. It also has the shorter bumper, which means that if you do a nose down landing, you can actually power out of it instead of the bumper actually digging into the ground. It comes with the wheelie bar, which it actually needs a little bit more because of the increased ground clearance. It also has a shorter wheelbase to bring it down to the original length of an original Stampede, and that tends to make it wheelie a little bit more, gives it a little bit less straight line stability. However, it does again help with getting over terrain. The closer your tires are together, the less chance you have of high centering. Stampede 4x4, Slash 4x4 is able to go over fairly rough terrain, rougher terrain than it looks like actually. The fact that it has 4-wheel drive and the standard RTR version does not even have a center diff, so you always have drive or power going to the front and rear axles at all times evenly. really helps it to get over some stuff that you wouldn't expect a vehicle to be able to handle with such small tires and with such low ground clearance. However, that's definitely not what it's made to do. Slash 4x4 is going to do much better on smoother terrain. It's going to do better on backyard tracks, kind of impromptu tracks, BMX tracks, and regular RC racing tracks where you don't have a lot of rough terrain to go over. It's not going to do so well on grass because, again, small tires, it's all about, most of it comes down to tire size. Small tires, it's going to allow you to sink into the grass more. It's going to bog down. You're going to run higher temperatures. It's going to be less efficient. It's going to be slower. Stampede, big tires, goes over big stuff. However, there is a major catch to all of this discussion about tire size, because if you've followed my videos, I'm sure that you've seen a thing by now called Chimera A, and that is a big tire vehicle based on the Slash 4x4 platform. And indeed, if you take off the body, buy some new wheels and tires, and preferably if you retune your suspension also with different springs, flip this around, and there we have Chimera A. Now it's an all-terrain bashing vehicle, and it's still the Slash 4x4 underneath. You just have to know how to tune it properly. There's actually more that goes into it than just changing out the tires. I put many weeks of tuning into getting this thing to crawl the way that it does. However, this does show you that you can make something that's similar to a Stampede 4x4 out of a Slash 4x4. You could keep the original body on here actually and just lift that up, and also take out a little bit of material from the wheel wells, from the fenders. It's still possible to run a short course style body on there. You don't need to buy a new one of those, but you do need to get new wheels and tires. That costs a lot. That's going to bring the cost of the Slash 4x4 up. The good thing about starting with the Slash 4x4 instead of a Stampede 4x4 is that if you get tired of bashing with big tires and you want to try out racing, or you want to try out just something different, you can convert back, swap back to the smaller short course wheels and tires, and then you're set. You have a short course truck again. So that gives you a major advantage in having the Slash 4x4 platform to start with. It's gonna cost more to get that big tired bashing ability, and the ability to get over rough terrain. However, you can always go back to the short course version if you so choose. With the Stampede 4x4, because it has the shorter chassis, you would have to change out that chassis. In addition to getting short course wheels and tires, you'd have to change out the chassis. I believe the drive shaft is different also. Most of the rest can actually be kept the same. There's a different receiver box that's used for the Slash 4x4, but you can probably jerry rig something up for that. In general, if you want to go over lots of rough terrain, Stampede 4x4 out of the box is the better deal. If you are completely uncertain, you're not able to make a decision of which way you want to go, you like both vehicles, but you have to choose one, but you are worried that if you go with the Stampede, you might eventually want to try out short course, or if you go with the Slash, you might eventually want to try out something with big tires, more of a monster truck, or something for doing trail driving and light duty crawling, then start with the Slash 4x4. It really comes down to what you want to do with it. Neither one of them, would I say, is the better vehicle. They're just slightly different. Most of the differences can be made up by just changing out some parts. That's my thoughts on it. I hope that that's useful information to you. I know that probably a lot of the things that I mentioned are pretty obvious, but hopefully if you have been stuck in this dilemma between Stampede 4x4, Slash 4x4, don't know which way to go, I hope that some of those ideas give you a little bit of push in one direction or the other. So that's it for now for this hot RC topic. Oh hey, do you have a hot RC topic that you want to talk about? Well, don't ask me about it on YouTube because I'm sorry, but I literally cannot keep up with the comments on the hundreds of videos that I have online on 4 different YouTube channels right now. Also, YouTube really wasn't made for discussions. It was never designed for it. It's designed as a place to share videos. You know what is designed for discussions though? Forums. Post up your questions on the friendly forums at ultimaterc.com and you'll have a much better chance of getting attention from not only me, but also hundreds and even thousands of other RC hobbyists out there that have decades of experience that's different from mine, same as mine. It's always good to get multiple opinions and you have a lot better chance of getting an answer very quickly. Hope to see you on the friendly forums at ultimaterc.com. Thanks.